Slashed tires on SUVs, arson at car lots, and EV dealerships defaced with bright blue spray paint have become a new, visceral kind of public protest. We rely on these machines to survive, to reach work, schools, and grocery stores, yet we are increasingly witnessing a physical rejection of the car itself. These smashed charging stations and scorched dealerships look like modern political debris, but these outbursts are echoes of a resentment that has been boiling for over a century. From the moment the first tires hit the dirt, the automobile forced a brutal psychological civil war over our physical space, our personal freedom, and our social status. Society treats the automobile as a contested idol, worshiping it as a private sanctuary, while resenting it as a public menace. In the early 1900s, an automobile rolling down the avenue was treated like a traveling magic show. These were expensive toys for the ultra-rich, and massive crowds would swarm the streets just to stare at the machinery. To early citizens, the car felt like an intruder. In 1902 America, there were only about 23,000 cars in the entire country, completely dwarfed by roughly 17 million horses. Initial awe soured fast as heavy cars began barging into mixed-use streets, throwing up blinding dust and running down pedestrians. A wealthy minority was rewriting the rules of everyday life for everyone else. Public life had to be rebuilt around the machine. Auto interests successfully lobbied for new laws and social etiquette, even popularizing terms like jaywalker to shame pedestrians out of the road. The invention of the traffic light and the crosswalk wasn't a simple matter of safety. It was the first major battle in a century-long war over who possessed the rightful claim to public space. By the 1950s, mass production turned the car into a mandatory credential of middle-class adulthood. A car parked in a suburban driveway signaled a stable job and a firm grip on family life. Manufacturers used styling to weaponize social hierarchy. Glinting chrome and massive tail fins became visual shorthand for a driver's income and taste, sparking a relentless pressure to upgrade models every year. This private mobility also triggered a moral panic. The car gave teenagers an unsupervised room on wheels, forcing drive-in theater operators to defend their reputation as family spaces rather than passion pits. While advertisers sold images of family freedom, the reality was a mounting public health crisis. Traffic fatalities rose dramatically, but the blame was localized on bad drivers rather than the design of the machines or the roads themselves. It took critics like Ralph Nader to shift the focus towards safety engineering. He argued that manufacturers prioritized styling and cost over basic survival, making cars dangerous at any speed. By focusing on individual driver error rather than systemic design, mid-century culture managed to preserve its love for the automobile, even as mass road death became a routine background feature of American life. The 1973 oil embargo shattered the illusion of the invincible car. Drivers sitting in mile-long gas lines suddenly felt that the symbol of their freedom was actually a trap of total dependency. This economic vulnerability triggered raw, organized anger. Independent truckers launched highway blockades and massive protests, demanding the government address the high fuel prices that threatened their livelihoods. By the 1990s and 2000s, resentment shifted toward the environment. Vehicles like the Hummer became lightning rods for climate activists, who viewed these oversized machines as symbols of greed and earth murder. Today, the car you drive functions as a rigid political uniform. Heavy pickup trucks and sleek electric vehicles have become symbols in a larger culture war, aligning with party identity, geography, and ideology. The shared dream of universal mobility has dissolved into clean battle lines drawn across the country. Our pursuit of rugged, isolated individualism funnels us into the exact same multi-lane bottlenecks, day after day. We built an entire world, our neighborhoods, shopping centers, and office parks, around the expectation that you own a car, making it nearly impossible to abandon the machine, despite the financial debt and environmental cost. We live in an exhausting paradox. We often depend on cars for every adult obligation, while resenting the hours we lose to the daily commute. These cultural and political fights over parking, bike lanes, and gas taxes are not actually about the vehicles. They are proxy wars over competing visions for survival and the use of physical space. The car remains a dangerous, beautiful trap we built for ourselves, a piece of history we are still struggling to control.